What is up, everybody? Fun little recap for you guys today. We talked about this a little bit on Tuesday night, saying that we are going to try to do something new this week, mainly because the time difference is so crazy over there. Being able to pull in pros for, or guest pros, whatever you have for interviews is going to be nearly impossible, especially now during the middle section between both majors. People are going to be on their A game. They're not going to have a lot of free time. And I'm sure they're not going to probably want to be staying up until the wee hours to talk to us over here. So, some exciting news. It does sound like we are going to have Yuli come on to discuss what he thought about his first round, discuss a little bit about the tournament, what he thought. And then we are, as of right now, confirmed with Ezra. Now, if Ezra is in his Airbnb, then we might also be having some other people. I've reached out to some other people as well to see if they want to come on. And if anyone is popping on right now, any pros watching this, or if you guys see anyone pop in the chat, we would love to have you call in. This is a time to kind of talk about your round, talk about the course. But Gary, what did you think of round one at the Cool Bet Presents European Disc Golf Festival 2025?
I thought it was an interesting round just from the perspective of this might be the Pro Tour course that I want to play the most because I feel the most comfortable walking on it as an amateur and playing because it felt like a pretty straightforward course. And anytime we get an MPO round that's sub 3 hours, you have to question, was it because the course was super easy? Was it because the field consisted of 25 players? And it was because the course was super easy. So if you like dead sprints, then I guess this is your kind of course.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, I think these majors need to have some sort of identity. I think bouncing majors from one to the next, and there's no real reason why it's playing at a certain course or not. It definitely hurts the major. I also say, I mean, first off, I got to tell you, the name doesn't feel like a major. I was kind of surprised to see that it's called the Cool Bet Presents European Disc Golf Festival 2025.
Yeah.
What is this major?
Yeah. Share that name with anybody outside disc golf, and they're probably not going to think it's an actual like tournament. They're going to think it's a festival or something. It just,
I am confused though. Is this a major that's going to be every year? Not maybe at this course, but like what is the name of this major? Do we know? Does anyone in the chat know? Because it's like, I know, and I know it used to be called the European Open, which I think is a much better name, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But like next year, is it going to be at this same is it just always going to be at this course and it's always going to be the European Disc Golf Festival? And it's just a major? Does anyone know? I don't know if anyone knows. Anyways, does this feel like a major? When you were watching today, it's a perfect timing because you have the Open Championship going on right now in golf, which is one of the four majors in golf. And so you can literally flick, or you can have multiple screens on, and you can see between the two. Does this feel any different than last week? Does this feel any different than previous week? Does this feel like a major, or just having the M, is that the only thing that really is separating this thing?
No, it doesn't feel any different than the European events we've had so far. You could convince me that this is just the next European stop on the European Elite Series. And it doesn't feel, let's put it this way, it doesn't feel any different than last year's European Disc Golf Festival, which was not a major, other than like the gravitas that they're trying to put in by saying all the things like they brought in 4 kilometers worth of fencing for spectators, and we're doing all this. And I don't want to downplay how great of a thing this is for Estonia to put on an event like this, because they put in a lot of effort and work to make this possible, especially with stuff like the sod and the ground and everything. But it feels like last year's European Disc Golf Festival so far.
Well, we got Yuli finally on the show. Yuli, welcome in, brother. We did this solely for you guys to be able to hop on, because we know 2 o'clock in the morning's tough ass to get you guys on. Yuli, what we're talking about right now, and since you played there today and you've been on the grounds, does this feel like you're playing in a major? Because the name is the Cool Bet Presents European Disc Golf Festival. So right there, I'm a little bit like, what the heck is that? But did it feel like you were playing in a major today?
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, I think it did. I think there's a couple factors that have to go into it. The average, like, it's not your average tournament as far as the advertisement all around, the way they dress it up. There's definitely a professionalism for the player experience that you're not going to experience somewhere else, such as, can you hear me or am I going in and out?
You're good. No, you're good.
Okay. Such as like you get to the place, you can't get on the premises unless you have a badge. You get your badge, you go into the players area. There's a warm-ups thing inside to where nobody's allowed in there. They have all the equipment for you to warm up right there. You get done with that, you go and you're escorted to the practice facility outside where you don't have to worry about anybody really coming up. You practice there, you're escorted back into the place, you walk upstairs, sit into a waiting area, and then they call you out individually one by one. And it's just really well set up to where if you ever go to like a traditional golf tournament or something like that, that's the feeling that you get because you're not even allowed to do certain things. Like it's
Yeah.
very like you have to do this. So because of that, that's a new feeling. Now, if every event ran like that, then I would say no, this would feel like a different event. But because of that, I think I take it back to like when I first went to USDGC. Like that was the experience that you have there was so incredible that it just set apart from everything else, and that's a similar aspect that we have here. Now, as far as the course goes, I think this is a good lesson for us just to think on course design in general, because this tells me that you could dress up any park and send us out there, have rules and regulations, and we could play anywhere. And I say that in the kindest way possible because of the work they have put out here. There's
Mhm.
some extremely difficult holes. Um,
A
there's not
couple.
one. No, there's not one hole that can't bite you. So these guys are playing nuts, but it's like perfectly calm out there, really, and most course.
Oh, we had him for a little bit. Hopefully,
Like,
hopefully he reconnects.
yeah,
Um,
I do have a question. Like, if he gets back in here, because I know that part of what he's talking about is how the behind the scenes and bringing people out is a really big deal. But if you watched last year's European Disc Golf Festival, they did that stuff
all
too.
that. Yeah.
So the question is that
Oh, here
um
he is.
perfect?
Yuli, Gary's got a question for you.
So I know you mentioned a lot of the stuff that they're doing like behind the scenes to make it feel like a major over there. And I think I remember like last year's European Disc Golf Festival, they did a lot of the same thing in terms of bring people out on the big stage and having the graphics up. Is that just a testament to how much effort they're putting in Estonia trying to make this event and this location feel awesome? Or is that this is a major? Because I think that we could do this stuff at other events, and that alone doesn't make it feel like a major. It just makes it feel like they're taking this more seriously and they want people to be more excited because we saw a very similar thing last year.
I mean, there's levels to it, right? So, of course, like last year, one of the better events because of the way that it's run, you have everybody who came back overseas, they only praise their effort and everything.
Mhm.
And so what I mean, what are we looking for a major? I don't think that's really well defined in our sport period anyways.
Mhm.
We look at the scores and they're super low. Why can't we have a course where we go super low? Is that the definition of what a major should be? Certain ones for sure, like a US Open, there should be some difficulty there. But if you look at the USDGC, you still see 10, 12, 13 under pars being popped off there. I mean, you got the best players in the world. Uh I do think the conditions are absolutely like flawless right now. Wind gets up just like anything and it'll protect the course, but there's a lot of elevation change too. I mean, like I said, I think they dressed up a really nice park and they did the best that they could. And I that's just what we have to deal with. So I guess my question to go back at you would be, does a difficult course lend a major? Would you rather have a difficult course and then kind of like you know, half the effort?
No, I think for me, and I obviously, I'm not a pro in the Pro Tour, so my perspective here is a little bit different from like a fan side of things. But to me, it feels like we talk about majors and identities, and you said it perfectly. Is that we don't, I think, know in disc golf what a major really looks like, because we have these traveling majors, then we have the one at USDGC that sticks there, and that's the closest thing we have to, I think, what feels like a major year in and year out. The thing that I go back to is, if we can replicate the same feel that we have right now at this event at a standard event that happened earlier this year, is that more to say that we're not doing enough at those events to make them feel as big and awesome as this one is? And the gap between major and elite series event is just super small. I don't care if it's a course where people score really well, or or it's very difficult to score. It's just, I guess my challenge is, if we can do this 2 years in a row at both just a regular European event and then at a major, like, how are we advancing the gap between regular event and major in general anyway?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I guess my rebuttal would be, let's talk about Eagles Crossing, right? Kind of a
Mm,
horrible place to go and stay and do all this stuff, but you hold a major there today, it's going to be the player's favorite place ever. It's going to
Yep.
look great on camera, and there's not
mhm,
going to be one thing we can complain about it because of that aspect. Nobody's going to ask like, oh, well, yeah, it's a tough place to get to. You know what I mean? I
right.
didn't really have a place. I stayed 45 minutes away type thing. So I do think that course has a big, I think it's probably a bigger conversation than most people are willing to admit. But at the same time, like, they're doing a great job here,
Oh
with
yeah,
what
for sure.
yeah, I mean, it's an
Yeah.
incredible job. And uh like I said, I think we're just having growing pains as far as majors go. Like, we'll just, if you
Mhm,
have the money and you have the crew to put something like this on, I would say do it every single time, because I'd rather have this. You dress up a course, you dress up the professionalism, and you do all those things. Listen, they had, like, just for the little funsy event the other day, they had 4,000 people on the premises,
Yeah.
mhm.
right? And they had 6,000 people watching on their national television here. So I'll trade that for the exposure and for us to look nice than a harder course, less effort, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think AB said something very similar going into the tournament, talking about how he feels like there's a lot of pressure because of how professional this tournament is being run. It elevates things. It makes things seem more important with all the professionalism. I think the problem that me and Gary are having, Yuli, is it does not come across on coverage.
Right.
Yeah.
Watching today, I could not tell you that it was a major, other than maybe the commentators trying to talk about it being a major, and maybe some of the graphics they pulled up to show, Paul Macbeth is one win away from tying Ken Climo, or Ricky. They had a graphic of how long it's been since Ricky's won a major. Other than that, it was very difficult to like watch and be like, oh, this is really important. And so
Mhm,
I think two things can be true. I think on the player side, you guys can be treated in a way to where it makes you feel like, holy cow, this is way more special and way bigger than all the other turns we've been playing this year. And then from a spectator standpoint, watching, we can also be looking, we don't see any of that stuff. And we just see like, oh, like, first off, the lighting, they got to figure out the lighting on hole one. People are saying that this is like one of the greatest hole one shots in disc golf. You're watching a shadow figure throw a disc out into the middle of a brightness. They got to figure that out. I saw
yeah.
that they had lights around the tee pad, so I'm not sure if they're planning on maybe having, if that's just like an intro thing for the lights, but they definitely need to get lights in there, because just to start the round, you can't even see who's throwing. It's just a shadow figure throwing from that. But my point is like, I think both can be true. I think the players can
Mhm,
feel like this is really, really special and this is big. And the viewers could be looking at this and being like, eh. And I think you're right, Yuli. I think the course has a huge, huge impact on that. A couple things watching that this course doesn't have: has no water features, literally no shots over the water, no shots where
15. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even then, we can't even see it. Like it's the way that the water's set up that you can't even see it. The camera, I don't know if they need a high camera angle to see the water. I just think the way that the grass is set up, they kept saying that there was water short of the green there. I never saw it. And I just think this course, I get it. They tried. They put a lot of infrastructure. And you can see the infrastructure, but to Gary's point, that infrastructure was there last year. So if you watch this tournament last year when it wasn't a major, there's not much difference there. When I watch this course, the one thing that I'm eliminating, and it's I think the one thing that you really want to see at majors is like decision making, and tough shots and players crumbling under pressure. And what we're getting right now, I think Gary kind of said a little bit in the group chat, it's almost kind of like what we got last week at the playoff, of where it's like, okay, who's going to mess up? That's what you're waiting for on the playoff last week. That's what we're kind of getting this week, is just like who's not going to mess up the most is going to win this tournament, versus watching people. And maybe you can kind of expound on this a little bit about, okay, this hole is really tough and this shot's really tough. Watching it from a spectator standpoint, it didn't seem that tough, especially when you have, I mean, Yuli, there was a point in time where I think there was like 45 minutes to like an hour where it was just like birdie, he's parked for birdie, he's C1 for birdie, drive in the middle of the fairway, birdie. Like it was just bouncing round and round. There was no one in trouble. Someone would throw a bad shot. Oh, he could still get up and down for birdie there. And I got to go a little bit against what Nicklaus said. Nicklaus had a quote saying that every single hole can be birdied easily. Every single hole can also be punished easily. I would disagree. I think if every single hole can be birdied easily, to me, what that means is you have to throw such a bad shot. You have to throw something really, really poorly to mess up. And that's what we saw. I mean, heck, hole 2, it's like a 270-foot shot, which, to be frank, I don't know if I would love to see a lot of very basic 270-foot shots on major courses. But Albert, Tom, and Gannon, the commentators were like terrified of their shots, being like, oh no, that's terrible. That's terrible. And then we get up there and like Albert's got a 20-footer tap in, Gannon's got a 15-foot tap in for birdie. And I get it. They're trying to like maybe build some drama, but Yuli, outside of 7 and maybe a couple of the tunnel holes, I think like 17 is going to create some drama down the stretch. But you kind of need a bad kick to go out of bounds, it seems like there. And we did see like Calvin Lundquist like completely shank his shot there and was able to get up and down for par. But outside of 7, I'm not really seeing that much on this course that leads me from a viewer standpoint. And again, we did get a lot of drone footage. We didn't get a lot of like, this is how the hole is playing. So maybe we're missing some of that. But 7 was the only one where I was like, okay, if they throw a bad tee shot, they have to make a decision. And I think a lot of that has to do with the bunker rule, which I'm glad they have the bunker rule there, because otherwise I think everyone would just play aggressive and advance their disc.
Yeah, I think to your point, we gotta wait. Like I think I remember watching this last year, and Ricky shoots 16 or whatever, and he has a 5-stroke lead going in the last round. And
Sure.
those 2-stroke swings happen because all of a sudden McBeth makes a comeback, and it made it very, very, very one of the most exciting finishes ever because they hyped up the McBeth. And
I'm not disagreeing. I think
one of the things
I'll say this, I'm not disagreeing with Ewing. I think we could get an exciting finish.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the rest of the tournament's exciting. Today was not exciting, Gary.
Yeah, there is a skill that I think people enjoy seeing, which is consistency. If we see 2 or 3 guys keep going 12 and 13 under down to the finish, absolutely the finish here could be really, really exciting. But you just don't know. One of the things I wanted to bring up about hole 7, because I think hole 7 might actually be like the only really, really good hole here on the course. 98% of fairways were hit off the tee for FPO, which is the first ranked hole there. They had 21 OB strokes, which came in first, but it was the hardest hole for the FPO. So it just goes to show that even though the tee shot was the easiest tee shot of the whole day for FPO, it was the hardest hole because of that that second shot into the green. And same thing for MPO, where 90% of the fairways were hit off the tee. It had the most OB strokes at 33, but it was the hardest hole for the MPO at 0.31 strokes over par, because that hole kind of, put that really, really difficult shot into the green. You had to make decisions. You had to execute something really, really technical. And if the course had some more holes like that, some more decisions, maybe some more L shapes. There's not enough L shapes on this course.
I think there was one L shape and it was on hole
Yeah.
7. I think
There's
hole
some,
7
like-
is an L shape.
Yeah, there's some like bent L's, but no, there's not a lot of true L's. But yeah,
It sounds like Ezra's going to pop on, Mike. So I'm going to text you to send him the link. Yuli's back. Yuli, what's up, brother? I think Ezra's going to join us here too. What were we talking about before you got jumped off?
No, I was just talking about last year in the battle that Ricky and Paul had, and how it kind of debunks the whole thing of there's not a lot of two-stroke swings. There is. There really is. And once, no, hold on. Once the major because that wasn't a major. Once the major championship pressure gets to these guys, a 2-inch miss is a two-stroke swing out here. It really is, because there is out of bounds from the kicks from left to right. And so typically when you see people under pressure, that's what you start seeing. Barely missing, but it's enough to really kind of punish people. And so I think it's going to be actually very, very exciting. I think this is what happens in the beginning of most major championships. There's hot scores that are being popped. We're seeing a lot of hot scores. But I mean, let's talk about like Nokia and the Beast. And this thing was the greatest major ever, the European Open. What did Paul and Eagle do? They went like 40 something crazy over under par one year, battling each other. And it was one of the most exciting things that we've seen.
But I gotta disagree. There's a difference.
You weren't there.
No, but I've played that course. I gotta disagree.
Yes.
People watching online weren't there either.
There is a difference. Is like when you're watching those guys perform, they are throwing shots that you're like, oh my gosh. Here, there's a lot of holes where it's like you throw your disc inbounds off the tee, you're chipping up for a birdie. There's a lot of holes like that, Yuli. And there's no holes on European Open where you're just throwing a chip shot to birdie.
They're all chip shots.
No.
Hole 1, hole 2, hole 3.
The
only good one is hole 5.
Hole one's a par 3. I'm talking about par 4s that you throw like a decent shot and it's a chip shot. And again, what I mean by chip shot, I mean it's a shot that you're never going to see any of these guys ever make a mistake.
Okay, so
yes,
maybe
hole 16 is a chip shot, second shot, but we
and
see people make the mistakes there. Hole 18 is technically kind of like a chip shot hyzer, but you're throwing into a super tight green, elevated. It's just when and again, this could be something where if I played the course, I could be defending it more. I'm telling just about watching it today. I did not see a lot of shots where I was like, wow. I didn't. I was not hole 18. That's just a stock hyzer. I'm not thinking like, wow, that's an incredible shot. Now I agree with you. Down the stretch with a major on the line, that gets things a little dicey. And yes, we could see some fireworks down the stretch. But today watching, tomorrow watching, Saturday watching, we're not really seeing that many. And even hole 7, Yuli, like is hole 7 really tough to attack the green? That second shot, is it like tight?
Island?
Yeah, the hole 7, the island green. Is it tight? Yeah, like, are you having to hit windows?
Depends on how. Yeah, depending on how far you throw it, for sure, it's tight.
That doesn't show up on camera.
Yeah.
Like watching Ricky today throw that shot, it looked like an easy like zone forehand, and you can't tell that. Oh my gosh, he's having to throw it through a really tight shot.
I mean, this is like I don't know. I guess I could think about.
Do you see what I'm saying though?
Kind of, but let me make a point. Like when I watch traditional golf, right? And I'm watching the first couple days of the major, which is actually happening this weekend.
Yep.
You can watch that and nothing is interesting. It's fun to watch. You see some nice putting. You see there's no drama. It's just who's getting in position. And then once they do, when you watch the final day, like as a fan, I'm not critiquing how easy something is or how difficult it is. I'm critiquing the moment that they have, right? How are they doing in the moment and kind of picking apart? Are they missing fairways? Are they not? And so I have to say again, we have to wait till the end because I think most tournaments are boring like this. I watch so much disc golf that it's very, very rare that I'm watching these guys play. And most of the time, we have featured cards every single time, the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, these are your leaders, or at least two of them going into the next round, or at least the top two cards. So they always make it look real easy. The one thing I am disappointed with, like so far, there's not a lot of Europeans up there. I thought there would be more. I thought we would have a
Yeah,
few Europeans kind of pop up because there's
we've
a lot
got
of great
Nicholas.
players.
Nicholas is tied for third, and then we got
See him all the time.
Jensen is tied for 10th with Rasmus Sakurapi. And then the next one is James. So yeah, there are and Lloyd Lettinen. So you got 4 guys, only 4 Europeans in the top 20. 4 Europeans in the top 20.
See, that's like a storyline that like makes for fun stuff in major championships, especially in traditional golf, not having like the guys and what was it, JJ Spawn at that one. Like that was an interesting. I wanted to watch that because this guy and then he does his thing and he makes for an interesting storyline. I don't know. I think the script is so overwritten in these things that it's all for myself. I'm not gonna say it's boring, but you can kind of see it play out, and it's the same guys. It's the same guys. It's the same guys throwing great shots over and over. I don't care. It's the amount of strokes that you do and the amount of putts that you make. Like the most interesting shot that I've seen over the past however long. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're
just
fine.
to get this point, is Ezra on hole 17 at Des Moines when he threw it 1,000,000,000 miles. Like that was one of the most impressive shots that I've seen because that is insane how far he got under the pressure. But that was final round. You know, that's like I can't remember a single shot thrown before that.
But I gotta tell you, like Des Moines, hole 5 and hole 6 are way more interesting holes than any hole we saw today.
Hole 5?
Hole 5 and hole 6 at Des Moines at Pickard Park are more interesting to watch. Maybe not to play, but I'm just saying to watch. Those are
you mean 4 and 5? Like the island hole and the little chip.
Sorry, 4 and 5. Also, we have Ezra in here, so let's bring him in too, just to get a little. Oh, I mean, he's walking the streets of Estonia right now. What the heck are you doing?
I'm lost. I don't know. I got dropped off at the wrong spot, and I'm walking.
Are you trying to make it back to your Airbnb?
I'm actually trying to make it to Eli's Airbnb to get my camera back, and then I have to go back to my Airbnb. But
okay.
I'm moving.
All right. Well, I'm glad you have good cell service over there. Okay. Well, Ez, first off, congratulations on the round today. Nice shooting.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
We were actually just discussing, which is I think something that we're trying to all figure out, because I think right now there might be a big difference between how you guys are feeling playing this course and how the people watching are feeling watching you guys play the course. So I guess first, give us your take on what it was like to play out there today.
I mean, today was just kind of frustrating because of my round. Like it ended up being really good, but it just seemed like a little bit of a struggle the whole time. So I was kind of frustrated. The course is really fun to play, and I like the shots. It's definitely not the best course on tour. It's not the most difficult. Like it's going to be one of those where we have to probably shoot 11 downs or something like that in order to actually have a chance at winning. So it is going to be more body or die style. I think the main thing about this event is that it's really good in the sense of everything else is done so well. And the course isn't the best course on tour, but since everything else is so good, it's such a good experience for the fans. I think that's what really shines.
And I'm wondering if this is something similar to the Creators Challenge, where we heard a lot of people talk about they didn't really like the Creators Challenge that much, but all of us that participated in it, we thought it was awesome. All the fans that came up to us afterwards thought it was awesome, and it just didn't really translate that well on camera. Maybe that's what we're having here too. Maybe people that are on the course spectating are thinking it's awesome, thinking it's great, And a lot what I've seen, in my opinion and Gary's opinion, watching it today, it was boring, Ezra. It was
Okay.
it was unfortunately very boring to watch. There just didn't seem like any holes or any shots that were really entertaining. And maybe if it was, like I was talking to Yuli earlier, seemed like hole 7 had a little bit of some drama and maybe some decision making.
Yeah.
We can't see the gap that well from those guardian trees short of the basket. So like we don't even really like process that you're having to hit, like, because that's why I had to ask Yuli. I was like, are you trying to hit a gap? Is there like a gap you're trying to throw through that you could potentially miss and like fall OB? Because on camera, it doesn't pick up that well. It just seems like you're just trying to hit the island. If you hit the island, you're safe. That is the challenge.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see, well, this course wouldn't come across that great on camera, since most of the stuff that makes this event really cool is more of an in-person type of situation. I do like how, and Goose and I were talking about this, there's actually a decent amount, there's like a handful of holes out here where, even though they're kind of short, like you do get rewarded for being aggressive and getting your tee shot way down the fairway. It seems like kind of a trend on tour lately where they want to kind of put everyone into a box as far as how aggressive you can get. They kind of make OB in a certain way to where everyone's kind of throwing 450 feet off the tee instead of letting some of us try to get 500 or more. And so I like that. And so I thought that would maybe be somewhat exciting for the people at home, but maybe some of those players just aren't playing. Well, AB was on a feature call, so I would have thought
the thing is,
the way he plays would be entertaining. I don't know.
Well, I did see him throw a little bit farther on some of the holes. I think there was one hole where, again, I don't know what happened today, that we didn't get that much drone footage, and we didn't get many graphics of like how the hole looks. And so when you're, you know how it is too, Ezra. I hate when they cut cameras. You just lose all perspective of like what's going on. And so there was sometimes where like the disc would go, 50, 60 feet farther than the other people, but it was hard to grasp, like, was that actually a challenging shot, or is it just AB can throw farther? Because I think there was one hole where like the OB cuts in, and so like if you go aggressive, you can have a really short chip up in between some trees. But if you go too far left, your OB, I think there might be like a structure or something out in the fairway.
Oh yeah, you're talking about.
Do you know what hole I'm talking about?
The Nike hole.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Looks like a house on the left side.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Big forehand.
There's that hole was a forehand. It was funny. Paul hit like the little. I guess there's like lights, like Christmas lights on that house, and Paul clipped the Christmas lights. I was like, oh, that's an interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anyone's disc hit Christmas lights before, but I don't. And Yuli kind of brought up this point. I think it's a good point of where let's wait and see how it all ends, because I agree. I don't love that there's 3 par 3s to end it. However, when the pressure is on the line, hole 17, that's going to be a pressure shot. And then obviously 18, if there's a little wind too, that will be a pressure shot with a major on the line. I'm not disagreeing with that. What my 16 too. My issue though is just watching it today was so boring, and I'm like, dang it, I have to watch that again tomorrow. That there's just not a lot of shots watching.
Yeah, but there's gonna be a storyline tomorrow, and that's what makes it interesting. First round, to me personally, first rounds are always boring because you're just watching basically a feature card. A few other people, they'll run out with a camera, get like 4 shots at some guy, and then now the next day, all of a sudden, a story's being written. One of the big stories is Gannon shoots whatever he shoots. He's probably going to come out hot. There's going to be some big moves up the leaderboard from lower cards, 3rd, 4th, 5th card, probably, if somebody's shooting crazy. There's going to be a lot more to like pay attention to. Today, there's nothing to pay attention to. The leaders are the leaders. We don't know who's going to be leading. Somebody sets a mark early who's not, I don't want to say not that interesting, but
are those other homeless people, Ezra?
Yeah, they're homeless, just like me. We got Cal Longquist, we got Joey, we got Eli. Yeah.
I'm Cal. Tell him congratulations on the round today.
Hey, Brody said congrats on the round, Cal. Good shooting out there.
Yeah, good
Thanks.
shoot.
What?
Tell him not to pick up anyone else's disc tomorrow.
But now that there's something to watch for and
Right.
to like kind of get invested in, that's when the tournament, I believe, becomes more interesting.
I
I'm
agree.
not. I'm not
One of the-
disagreeing.
Anyways,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
One of the pieces of pushback that I'll have there is, though, we can't rely on a second round to bring fans back in to watch the live. We need to be able to create narrative. Like, if the true storylines of the event and the scores are happening tomorrow, they need to be able to hype up the emphasis of this is a major. We need to be here watching. And there are a lot of people who I think get halfway through today's round and go, I'll check back in round 4 and I'll watch
Yeah.
whoever's at the end of this sprint.
The final nine.
We need to engage. I'm glad that there are a lot of people there at the venue watching. That's incredible. I'm glad that, they're making the pros feel like this is a major. That's also incredible. But for the growth of the sport and the viewership, and I know it's tough because it's in Europe as well, but we have to get people engaged in all the rounds, because if we lose them in round 1, when it's the free round, typically in most events, I mean, I know that you've got the pro stuff here at the major, but that's the round where we have to capture people, get the hooks in somehow, and then we have to keep them throughout the event with the storylines that kind of happen as the course plays itself out. So I like that,
Yeah.
but I'm a super fan.
Okay, so
I'm
let
gonna
me
watch
ask
every
you
round.
this: do you think that the audience is seeing what you guys are seeing? Like they're interpreting the same thing that you guys are watching? Because I would be curious to see what the views were today,
Mhm.
and what kind of presence they had as far as, I guess there's probably no way to see how if they stuck through the whole entire
Well,
thing, but
Yeah.
I
I
just
don't
threw
think
I threw a poll up that says, "Was today interesting to watch?" So if you guys that are listening, we got over 200 people in here listening right now. If you guys want to answer that, did you enjoy watching today's coverage? Post that. I do think me and Gary are probably more on the critical side. I think more of the casual viewers, Yuli, probably just they'll watch. I mean, heck,
they watch whatever.
they'll watch you guys play any course and think it was interesting to watch. I think I but and maybe at the end of the day, maybe it's not that important. Maybe it's really at the end of the day, unfortunately, it's not that important how good the courses are, how challenging they are. And disc golf is just in a world of where it's cornhole. People are going to tune in and watch people throw the same shot into the hole. And
Well, the
that's
other-
just
Well,
what
I think
disc
it's
golf is.
I feel like it's important to try to figure out what is important too, because
Yeah.
I mean, some events, don't spectate that well, but it might be a fantastic course, like Northwoods Black. Awesome course for the pros, super challenging, demanding, really good from like all perspective. But it's really hard to watch that course like in person live. But then maybe the camera does an okay job picking it up. So it's like, and then like this tournament, the course is kind of mediocre, maybe a little better than that, but it's not that like high S tier level course. But then the experience for the fans in person live is important. Is really good, but we don't know if that's even important. Maybe just the live viewership is what's important. It's
Yeah.
kind of like trying to it's kind of
And-
test it out and see what sticks, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think from like the challenge thing that you guys did, or not you guys, but the challenge thing that they did 2 days ago or yesterday, I can't remember what day it was. Again, like
Yeah.
from a viewer standpoint, watching it live, like watching AB throw that far is kind of cool. But I'm sure if you were, right next to him or in the crowd and seeing that
Yeah.
come out of his hand, that's probably way cooler. It probably translates way better in person than it does through the camera.
Yeah, I think to your point, Gary, as I was thinking about what you said, I don't think it's up to you can come into situations when you're watching a tournament to where it just becomes boring. I mean, what do you want to see? A bunch of bogeys all the time or this? Like there's a happy medium between too hard, too easy, all those things. I think it's the pre-tournament that hooks the people into watching and then you get invested. And I also think that no matter what the tournament is, you're gonna have the people who just watch the last day. Like they're out playing,
Yeah.
they're out doing their thing. Like
Sure.
they're just going to watch the last day anyway. That's just who they are, and that's why the final day is always the most viewed because nobody really cares. And so things like I know we've talked about this before on the show is it's the build up to bring the people in, right? Like I think of MVP Maple Hill, probably really well watched, but for 20 years in a row, it's been the best course in the world, and people just are addicted to this place. And so, first round, you're probably going to have more viewers just because the advertising and everything and the way that it's talked about constantly is very high up. USDGC, same kind of tier. Um, I don't think you're gonna like you compare like the Masters in traditional golf to any other tournament, and it's not even close,
Yeah.
right? It's just
There's a
not even
massive
close.
difference. Yeah. I don't think we
They
have
have
that massive
everything.
difference
Yes.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
and
also
so they have everything, but what they have done a fantastic job of doing is somehow they hook you beforehand. Like I'm
yeah.
looking forward to it months beforehand because of
But
how
also,
prestigious this is.
doesn't the course matter there though, Yuli? Like, aren't there holes at the Masters that you can't wait to watch people play? You can't wait to watch people hit shots.
Every hole there, you want to watch people play for
But there's
sure.
more, there's a couple more, there's a few that like definitely stand out. And I think my question to you guys is 2 weeks from now, after Worlds, are there any holes that are going to be remembered at this course? Like holes, not moments, not someone throwing an ace, but are there going to be any holes that people are going to be looking forward to next year?
I think that's a hard thing to find in disc golf right now, period. I think the course design aspect is
I
in a
agree.
crazy growing stage to where people don't know what they want. And that's why I say, like, which is more important, the live viewers in this particular case, the country is involved making it the
Yes.
best event for them to come. And that's where their priority is. And to be honest, I think that's where it should be right now for them.
Mhm.
Like the disc golf network and the pro tour and that's their job. Their job is to supply a venue that people can come out and watch their favorite players and watch them play disc golf. And so in that regard, they're doing a fantastic job. Like
Mhm.
it's incredible. I mean, how many people did we have today? I bet we'll see the numbers, but I'm guessing if
Oh, at the venue?
the Superstar Challenge or whatever was doing
3,500.
4,000
Yeah.
people, then today had to have been close or more.
Yeah, and it looks like I said, me and Gary are probably in the minority here. There's 21% of the poll right now saying that they thought today wasn't interesting. So nearly 80% of the people did find today interesting. It kind of goes to my point of where you can go out and play at your local course and people are going to watch and find it interesting. Ezra, same thing. You can go and play a local course and people are going to find it interesting. So I think it might be a little bit more in the minority that watched today and was like, I
Yeah,
didn't
we want
really
a little
get
more.
much. I didn't really get much. But, and again, to you, to both of your guys' point, if it's about, hey, we're going to play at this course, it might not be the most crazy course in the world, but it's in a crazy location. They do a great job. Tons of people are going to come out and watch live. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Maybe that is the most important thing right now.
There's
Maybe that's
also
the thing that needs to be focused on.
there's also external factors though too, because I think you take into account the fact of when this round was played. Most of the people watching this probably like watching disc golf a bit more than the average person because you're trying to log in during work or whatever, because this is a not a typical time to watch disc golf. Also, a big narrative was built up over the last week of, is this course even going to be playable with all the sod they're putting down? So maybe you got people tuning in to see what kind of condition the course is in. I think there are a lot of things that bring people to it, and maybe it's because, like Brody said, we're a bit more critical, maybe because we watch more disc golf, and so to us, compared to the average event, this feels a little bit more boring than the average event. I'm of the mind that I just want to see the sport grow, and I want to see the best events put on. And while I agree that the disc, like the Pro Tour has done a great job executing from like a logistical perspective and all that stuff, I think they also have other jobs. And one of those is as owners of the Disc Golf Network, creating narratives that bring more people in. So just because a segment of people liked what they saw today, I don't want to sit back and go, okay, then it was fine, because we could be getting a bigger segment of people if a better narrative was built up weeks prior, stuff like that. If they took us out to, if they built narrative of there are iconic holes, let's go look at them. Let's get people excited to watch them, because we've only been at this course, for like 2 years now, and it wasn't a major last year. I don't really remember much of the holes coming from last year into this year, but we were only at the Monster once last year, and I have several holes in my mind I'm excited to see the pros play.
Yeah.
Because a big narrative was built about how much effort went into that course and what they did in terms of score separation. So I like that there's success, but just because we had success doesn't mean we can't ask for more or push for more. So how are they going to take what they built on this year, and when we return here in the future, how are we going to get people excited to go, oh, I want to see this whole play out. I want to see this happen. So that's the big thing for me, is that I don't want to stop at this was fine. I want to keep going into how can we make it better and get more people to watch.
Ezra, I'll leave you with this analogy here. Okay. You're an alien. You come to the United States. I give you vanilla ice cream for the first time. And you're like, dang, this is freaking pretty good stuff. And I could just feed you vanilla ice cream all the time. And you could be thinking to yourself, wow, I'm living the life. This stuff is incredible. And then one day you come in and I give you your vanilla ice cream, because you're doing a good job. And then I pull out my ice cream and there's stuff in it. And you're like, what the heck do you have over there? And I'm like, don't worry about it, brother. And you're like, well, I want to try your ice cream. I'm like, no, it's completely fine. And then you somehow sneak a bite and you get a little cookie dough with your vanilla ice cream. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. Why have I been eating vanilla ice cream all this time when there's freaking cookie dough ice cream out there? And I think that's kind of Gary's point, is right now in disc golf, yes, are people watching and enjoying it? Sure. But do they know that disc golf could be a lot more interesting? What if there's this whole other world over here where they thought today was, if they thought today was awesome, imagine if it was over here where people are throwing these crazy shots over water and they're having to throw flex shots and change up shots. And oh, by the way, speed control matters. I don't know what's going on over there with the grass. The grass looks like quicksand. I'm seeing no skips. I saw Isaac Robinson throwing full speed drivers into greens and they were just digging nothing. And so it's like, okay, I guess speed control is just a skill set that you don't need at all.
See, I feel like this course.
Were you getting big skips?
Like as straightforward as it. What's that?
Were you getting big skips?
I got a big skip on hole 14.
One hole. Okay, one hole.
Yeah, that's just one that came to mind. I feel like as straightforward and like simple as this course looks, I feel like it does kind of demand a decent amount of shot shapes, a decent amount of different shots to throw, and speed control. Those, obviously the hole 7, you want touch. I feel like the course is pretty solid. It's definitely a step up from last year. Unfortunately, it sounds like it doesn't translate that well to camera, and maybe that's on the camera, like the way they set all that up.
It doesn't translate that well to these two.
Yeah, it did translate well. Did translate well to me. I saw too many shots today coming into the green that are coming in with way too much speed, and they're not on like Spike Heiser lines. It's not like they're digging into the ground. It's just the grass is just eating them alive. So then it doesn't really matter how hard you're throwing into greens.
I feel like I'm throwing long nukes. I feel like I'm throwing touch shots, flex shots. I'm throwing forehands. Those like grenade that I throw. Low ceiling shots. I just feel like it has a lot more than I guess maybe it seems to you guys. I don't know.
All I know is go
ahead.
All I know is the Disc Golf Network is probably very, very happy that the lead card tomorrow is going to be AB, Isaac, Ricky, and Niklas, because it had those guys not risen to the top, not that people wouldn't watch. I think what we need to see are the numbers. There are people who maybe say they weren't bored today, but like how many unique subscribers tomorrow are going to be logging in to watch again in round 2? That's the kind of stuff, like seeing these numbers, I think would help us understand a lot more of what the audience wants. But we're not going to know that stuff.
All right. Before we let you guys, go, go ahead.
Point?
Yeah, go.
One more point. At the end of the day, the disc golf is the important. Is like what's exciting. Like you mentioned, like we could play any course and people would tune in. Some sports don't have the variance of the course. Like if you watch NBA, it's the same exact the same exact basket, hoop, same exact everything. It's just the actual like basketball that changes. So I feel like in that sense, it may not be that important. It's just the disc golf. People want to see Anthony. They want to see Niklas hit the lines. They want to see Isaac. They want to see the shots. I think it's possible. I'm not saying that's the case. And I do agree that we could get cookie dough in the vanilla and probably better
Yeah,
as well.
That's
But,
kind of
throw that
my
out
that's
there.
kind of my
Yeah, but
point.
this is cookie dough. This is
Yeah.
cookie dough. This is something different than we've ever gotten ever.
True.
And
And I like
still
that.
we're and still we have this thing about like how do we grab the player? I honestly think it's like I said, if I watch the PGA Tour and I'm watching and I golf a lot.
Yeah.
I watch these guys and I would rather watch the final day because I'm looking at the situation. I already know they're good and they're better than me. And these shots I won't understand. And honestly, when you look at traditional golf, the shots that they hit on camera don't translate to the viewer at all. It's
Mm.
very, very rare. Like if you play golf, you know that hitting it inside 5 feet is crazy nuts.
No,
They do that all
they
the time.
but they do translate, Yuli. Everyone knows how hard it is to hit a green from 175 yards. No
And
matter
everybody
what,
knows how hard
what,
it is to shoot 14 under par on your local tiny teeny tiny course. And if you've held the amateur world championships on this course, you would have people shooting 30 over par, buddy. For
Yeah.
sure.
Well-
It's that
well, I
it's
mean,
tough.
I mean, we
is.
had someone shoot 10 over par in this field.
Yeah, and even if it does or doesn't translate, I still go back to if you stripped away the practice rounds that other groups were doing, and you just looked at whatever preparation that the Pro Tour did to, or the PDGA did to promote this event, it just doesn't feel like enough. Like where's the conversation going on?
Now you're
all
talking
over
my
the place?
language.
Yeah, like where's the conversation going on all over the place of like, hey, Ricky's been majorless for a while. This is a big deal. He performed super well last year here. He fumbled the bag a little bit on this drive on hole 18 last weekend at Crokle. Paul has been winless since PCS in 2023.
Yeah, those are storylines that are
Like-
going to happen no matter what.
But I'm saying, like, where's the build? Where's like the real build up narrative of that weeks prior without the need for other media outlets to do it for the Pro Tour? So imagine they are also leading into this and they're
Yeah, they don't-
involving themselves.
They
You
don't
get more
have
people.
they just don't have a lot of marketing. But can we just look at the scorecard real quick, guys? Can we just this is like the top 20 guys right now in the event. Does anything jump out at you here?
I can't do that ever. I think that's the first thing that jumps out.
A lot of green.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot
it's
of
just,
green.
and I guess to your point, Ezra, about the basketball and playing on the same course, same court. Gary does have a good point. He says the opponent changes in basketball, and that's the biggest variable. So there is
True.
that of where you're
Not this
excited
Gary.
to see the
Not Gary.
matchups, right? Yeah, this is
Yeah,
Gary Hobbs.
valid.
Shout out. You're excited to see LeBron go up against blah blah blah. You're excited to see Luka go back to Dallas after he just got. So there's a lot of that stuff. You're not excited to see them play on a certain court, but you're
Right.
excited to see the matchups. And in disc golf, what I would love to see. There is actually one hole that looks like it has potential. What's the 450-foot hyzer hole?
Oh, 12 with the big like cat thing.
Dark Horse Cat. What? No.
There's like a big
Cat.
pillow with a cat on it.
I don't know if we saw
Like that
that.
one?
That would have made it
Okay.
even more interesting. There's one hole that's like definitely the farthest par 3, and guys are throwing big backhand hyzers to get to the basket.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah, that's it.
What if you throw 60 feet short of the basket, 70 feet short of the basket? Is that just a par?
Yeah, it's a little bit skinny off fairway, but yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I
like-
saw a couple people go be right and early left today.
Yeah. It's just, I think what I'm wanting, and again, I could be in the minority, but I'll be firm in saying, like, you know, I was the first one saying that I think disc golf jerseys make a lot more sense than wearing golf clothes, and everyone laughed at me, and now everyone's got 15,000 jerseys out there. I'll die on this hill, and maybe 5-10 years from now, we'll come back to it and be like, oh, look, I just think if we make these courses harder, don't let
I'm with
people
you.
don't let people on that hole. I would love to see Niklas, a guy that doesn't throw nearly as far on a hyzer, and he's even said that's like his full max to get to the basket. That brings now drama coming into it. If he's 60 feet short, which is still a terrible shot, by the way. That means you threw a 390-foot shot and you're asking for 450. That's terrible. What if there's water there? Like, give me a man-made lake right there, please. Right? To
I
where
agree.
there's a little more drama. Just same thing on 18. Like, I get it. It's tough because it's like a festival ground, so you can't do it. But maybe we just need a bunch of little kiddie pools out there, Ezra. Give me a bunch of little kiddie pools sitting out there.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm going to watch tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it.
Got you. It got you hooked.
No, it's my job, Ezra. It's my job.
I know.
I'm not looking forward to it, but hey, maybe I'll be surprised. I get to watch hopefully. Well, you're on third card, right?
The PDJ number booting me off of these feature calls, lead calls, man. We got to do something about that. There's something in the players group right now about talking about that. It's like it should just be DGPT standings or world rankings or something. Like, we got all these old people. Like, I don't know.
Oh, let's be easy with the old people comment here. But
Goose has a low one too, but he's not that old. But
I do want to ask you though, do you feel disrespected, or at what point do you start feeling disrespected that you're not on these feature cards? What are we doing here?
I think it would have made sense to put me on the feature card for PCS the week after I won.
Okay,
I feel like that makes sense to just put the last week's champion on, but they haven't been doing that for a lot of people. So I guess I don't know if I even feel disrespect. It's like I don't know if did they give Ben one this week? I don't know. Gannon, they don't always give Gannon ones. I don't know. It's just like the DGPT has their own way of picking that, I guess, and that's not part of it.
I understand. I'm thinking you pretty big fan base coming off a huge win. I agree. PCS makes Procol makes a sense going on to that one, or PCS, excuse me, makes sense going on that one. But like you've played a couple really good tournaments in a row. It wasn't like you had your win and then you fell off a cliff. Like, I think it would have been.
I mean, I think it would have been. I might be biased, but I would probably put me on. A couple more feature cards here on there. I probably would have given myself a press conference, the week after as well. But I don't know. Maybe the Pro Tour doesn't want me on.
I'm just wondering if you feel disrespected. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right. How do you feel the rest of the way here? You're 2 shots back, which I think in a tournament like this, I think you're in striking distance. I think if you're I think if you're 5 shots back right now, I don't think you have a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, you can shoot 18 down at this course. So I think even the people at like 7, 8 right now, they should still be somewhat positive. Well, not positive, but, don't give up. It's like you could still be in this thing. I felt really solid with my round today. I'm throwing the disc really well, which is nice on this course, and throw all some low ceiling gaps and stuff. You got to stay in bounds. So that was really nice. I missed 2 15-foot putts, 2 tap-ins. I got to go watch Yuli's how to make a tap-in video, I think, so I can clean that up for tomorrow. But other than that, the rest of my game is really solid. I've got my dad on the bag this week, so it's nice to have a caddy. And I'm just gonna try to keep throwing the disc really well. And then I made a lot of good, solid, deep circle 1 putts and just shy C2 putts today. So try to keep that going. If I can keep that going for 3 more rounds, I think 4 11s would hopefully do it.
Yeah, you went 17 of 18 fairway hits today. You had 16 looks at birdie inside of circle 2. You missed 2 putts inside of circle 1, and then you missed your other 2 putts in circle 2. So I mean, you got 16 looks at birdie. I don't want to say what I think about that with the course, but especially you saying that you didn't even feel like you. I mean, you said well, but I played solid. Yeah. I think we are going to see a crazy round, though. I think we are going to see someone shoot 16.
Right. And that's where you could have the champion push closer to 50 even. If they have 3 solid rounds, then 1 crazy round, you could see someone get to 46 or something, which would be nuts. But
yeah, then we're getting into Joey Chestnut numbers over here. All right. Well, Ezra, good luck finding your way. Some people were worrying that you're going to get taken by Liam Neeson out there. So good luck finding. We do have you. We do have you in our picks.
All right, I like that. I'll try to get some points.
We did not pick Calvin Lundquist though, so that might bite us in the butt. But
it is good.
Good luck tomorrow, brother. And I'll be watching. Hopefully we see you on coverage.
Sweet. Yeah. Hopefully I can pop off and they'll give me a camera.
All right, brother.
Time. Thanks
Take
for having
it
me on,
easy.
guys.
Good luck tomorrow.
Yep, take it easy.
Maybe we're jumping the gun here. Maybe we're jumping the gun here, Yuli. Maybe we are. But and maybe it was the commentators too trying to like hype it up. It's tough for me to like for them to like hype up how difficult a shot is and like all four guys like throw it to 4 feet. And you're just like, was that actually a hard shot? Was that, you know what I'm saying? Like when everyone,
it's tricky, man. There's a lot of different lines, but basically what you need out here is you need a left to right dragging 420-foot shot, which isn't the easiest thing to throw.
yeah.
And because the conditions are so calm, like it makes that shot pretty dang easy. And one thing I don't like about this course is there's a lot of like the landing zone where you could get kind of nipped by the out of bounds is like right at about 410. And these guys are pushing way past it. So it's not even coming into play. You get what I mean? So it's really kind of almost punishing a lower tier player, which we're seeing. If you go down the leaderboard, it's like the lower tier players are playing a little bit worse, is because a lot of those holes are like there's no trouble short. Or I mean long. It's all kind of shortish. And so that's another thing. I think course design issues are a big problem as far as like you need to know where the best players like they throw a pretty good shot, they miss it by a little bit. Where's that ending up? Because that's where the trouble needs to be. Because disc golf is so hard or so easy, like you need to be punishing small mistakes at this point, not big ones. And I don't see that a lot.
Vorax just said they're estimating 15,000 people this weekend. Sheesh.
Yeah.
I don't know if
that's cookie dough, bub.
I don't know if that's like both days though. And I will say having big crowds out there will make this feel more like a major. Having like the cheers and the chants, and then obviously seeing the players get a little bit more emotional, a little more pressure. And maybe it's just the first time I watched it. I think I'm gonna give it a fair shot tomorrow. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow and give it a fair shake, and maybe some of these holes will start growing on me. Today I just didn't see it, and yeah, I don't know.
15,000 is great. Like I said, it's awesome. So what are we gonna do now? Where's gonna be the post that comes out that says 15,000 people are coming out to watch this event? What are you doing tomorrow? Make sure you log in and watch the like. How are they capitalizing off of that awesome number? That's what I want to see.
I do want to say Brian Earhart did have like an interesting line of where he was talking about how this is going to be like such an exhausting week for the players. And I was just thinking, I was like, imagine how much more exhausting this would be, because it also played really fast, right, Yuli? Like it's not a long course, so
for some people we got stuck behind
FPO.
We had to call the marshal, and we got stuck behind somebody who was super slow, like 2-3 holes in front of them type thing.
I will say I have seen some European people start taking up like the Gannon Burr chalk stuff, and it's I need to stop seeing that. I need to try to throw like Gannon. Don't try to do all the stuff before like Gannon. But yeah, it sounded like they played the first 9 in like an hour and 20 minutes or something. Lee Card did, which is awesome. And, I just think the course being short, pretty straightforward, not too much trouble. And if you do throw a bad shot, it's like a quick OB. There's not really a lot of scrambling. So they can kind of zip through it pretty quick. But he was basically saying like how exhausting the week will be. And I was just thinking, like, imagine how much more exhausting it would be if you had to play. Because when you play Northwood Black, we only play 2 rounds out there when we play Ledgestone. And like people are ready to get off that course. Imagine a course like that requires so much thought, so much struggle. Every hole you're worried about what could happen. 4 rounds under major pressure. That to me, it sounds like an exhausting week. That
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna
that
have
would
that at the World Championships because
World Championships will give you
it's
that
kind
too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which will be exciting. Any thoughts for you the rest of the week? You did. I mean, you had a solid round. I wouldn't say. I mean, it's tough when you have guys that are shooting 13 and 12 under. But I mean, you had a pretty solid round. Just 3 blemishes, a double bogey, 2 bogeys. But how'd you putt today? Did you putt pretty good? Yeah, 12 for 13 inside the circle. You had 13 looks at birdie today too.
Mhm.
So you had like a solid round. Like what's your goal for the rest of the week here?
I mean, I'm in a position, like I said, like most of the trouble is like I have to push past it, and it takes a pretty difficult shot for me to push past the trouble. So I have to be pretty exact with my lines. I caught a really bad break on that double bogey. It was like basically like a 45-foot putt that I halfway laid up and hit a root and just took off down a hill out of bounds. So it was like little things like that. And once I feel like that's the final boss for me, in my mental game is like getting over bad breaks. It's something that still just irks me the wrong way, and it puts me into a mood of like, why am I even here type thing, you know? And
Sure.
once I can get past that, so most of my bogeys were that. They weren't like crazy mistakes that went bad. Um, so I'm playing pretty good. I think I can manage to shoot a few good rounds and be just fine. I mean, I'm looking if I could get into the top 20, that'd be fantastic.
Pop off.
Especially after that, but I could just as easily shoot 12, 13 under. I really believe that this course can be that. It does favor like a straight shot, which I'm typically really good at.
What are your
But I
thoughts
mean,
on? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, that was it. That was it.
Oh,
That was the
what are your
conclusion.
thoughts on what Ezra said earlier, saying how him and Aaron like that this course doesn't really punish people being aggressive? Do you think
No, I'm
that
fine.
is good course design
I
of where if you throw 500 feet, you can just throw past all the trouble, basically?
I think if I were to design a course, I would look at the top players' missed tendencies, and that's where I'd put trouble. And I don't think people are doing that right now. I think they're just like creating like basic rules of course design. Like here's a gap, here's the OB left, here's the OB right. To where nobody's really getting analytical with it and being like, okay, typically like where does Gannon miss? Like where does AB miss? Do they miss early or do they miss right? Do they miss on these holes? Do they miss on those holes? You get what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
placing obstacles and out of bounds and even turns and stuff to where it's challenging the best players in the world. Because if you can challenge them, you're challenging everybody. Uh and so I don't know, that's been a thought that I've been kind of like pondering for a while now of how do you make a great course, and I think that's it. I think it is because I've told you guys before, like I feel like the flex shot has become like king. It
Mhm.
like kind of dwarfs everything because you're landing kind of soft, you're getting max distance and all those things. So how do you negate that? That now they have to throw a hyzer flip, and then there's trouble at the end of the hyzer flip. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now you have to fit a sidearm through there. But if you fit a sidearm through there and there's trouble on the right, I think what you'll end up having is you're going to have a lot of very, very angry disc golfers being like, I can't fit my shot into here. And they're frustrated. You know what I mean? And it's
Ye-
going to take like perfect shots to get into position. And people don't like perfect shots. They want to get away with stuff. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I think eventually there needs to be a course like that to where, mad scientists are taking all the analytics and just making it very, very uncomfortable for the player. That's what it is. It's not that it's a difficult shot, it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable landing zone because if I just miss barely, I'm out of bounds.
Yes. You know what hole comes to mind when you're talking about these shots that were just uncomfy for a lot of people? Champions Cup or WR Jackson. Um, it was a par 3 and it had a left fairway that you could throw a forehand or a right fairway, but no one really ever threw that left fairway. But that right fairway was like an uphill pushing hyzer the whole way into like a tight gap. And it just had enough trees on the right hand side that forced a lot of people to saw off early, or they weren't throwing a disc that pushed enough and it would go into the woods. And it was actually kind of tough up and down. I think when you were talking about that, like that was just a shot that even the top players get to that hole and they're like, this is just not a shot that I'm super comfortable throwing all the time. And I think to your point, I think course designers in the future and even the Disc Golf Pro Tour, since they're kind of coming in and changing a lot of these courses, I think to your point, I think let's look at courses and see what holes players are really struggling with. See what hole players are like, man, I can't figure this hole out. And maybe start trying to replicate those throughout, because I just think you get a much smarter just with disc golf, because golf already has, it's really hard to hit a golf ball. It's really hard to putt. So it's almost impossible to really make a super easy golf hole. But in disc golf, those things are pretty easy. So it's like, I just would love to see a course that was more start to finish challenging holes, not, challenging hole in hole 6. Challenging hole 13.
Another great hole that like kind of pops into my head is 16 at Champions Cup when they pushed it back and they had that mandatory there. That's an awkward distance for everybody.
This is at WR Jackson?
No,
OTB?
I meant OTB. 16 mandatory down there. Okay. Out of bounds left the whole entire way.
16 was the par 4? Was 6? Oh, no, wait, they changed the layout this year.
That was football gate hole, right?
Yeah. What was 16 this year?
It was a football hole. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Kristen's football. Yeah. I thought OTB did a pretty good job of like changing some of the holes to make them a little trickier for them being kind of open the open. But we'll see. I mean, I think they're limited, right, Yuli, with the land they have out there. It's not they're pretty much using almost all of it, aren't they? From like,
I don't know. I haven't walked the whole property, honestly.
Okay.
Unless I have walking the course.
I think you might have.
I haven't gone exploring.
I don't know if Mike can find that fast enough, but I think there is like an image that shows like the course layout on the park, and I think it's almost utilizing the majority of the park.
Yeah.
The other thing, which again is not something that like I think is good course design, wind coming off that water can completely change how this course plays. Today, it seemed like you guys had a couple breezy moments here and there, but for the most part, watching it on coverage, it seemed like the wind was pretty much down.
No, there's certain parts of the course where it's definitely cooking, and I don't think you're going to be able to turn it off this week. But hopefully, maybe one of the rounds it gets pretty crazy, because then you're going to see a lot of stroke separation, a lot of.
Yeah, because there is a lot of OB out there, Yuli. We just didn't see it.
And it's tight. It's actually tighter than you think.
Yeah, we just didn't see it. It was really bad shots, and there was only a couple of them that like the player went OB. Ricky had a pretty poor shot, but then he made like a massive putt to save bogey on one of his holes. He also made another massive. Ricky was kind of dominating today a little bit. I mean, he shot 12 under with 2 bogeys, which is pretty impressive. I don't think there's anyone else no one else in the top 10 had 2 holes over par. So he was getting after it today. It's gonna be exciting to kind of see what he can do. But I'm kind of with Gary on this one, Yuli. I think it's Isaac's championship to lose here. And
it might come down to that same battle, AB Isaac.
Yeah, it's just that point. The point when you put him on a course that's like point and shoot. This is what you need to do. Execute. It's tough to beat that guy. Really tough to beat that guy.
Niklas. Shorter course.
He's in there.
Hey guys, I gotta bounce though. I have
appreciate
commentary in like about an hour and
take care. Good luck the rest of the week.
Yeah, crush it.
Yeah. Thanks,
later,
guys.
brother. Do you have anything else, Gary? Mike, you got anything else?
I think it's worth bringing up the FPO side of things to see.
Let's talk a little FPO. Yeah, let's talk a little FPO.
Kristen is currently in 20th place after the first round.
How'd her round go? Let's see.
She finished 1 under par, and her C1X putting was not great. She was 7 for 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the struggles are continuing for her a bit.
So it looks like on hole 8, she went fairway out of. Wait, how do I read this? Oh, here we go. She went fairway because that's where she took her big number, right? She took a quad. She took a quad on number 7.
Number 7. Yep.
So she went fairway. She had 285 feet to the basket. Then she went out of bounds.
Yeah. So yeah.
Then,
fairway
then
out of
she
bounds.
went. Then she laid up to 206 feet short of the basket.
It shows here that she was at fairway after the tee with 285 to the basket. Then she threw out of bounds, and her new position from throwing was 206 feet from the basket. She then went out of bounds again, but it looks like she went out of bounds maybe deep because she's now 22 feet from the basket. She missed that putt and was now 19 feet from the basket.
And then
Missed that putt and was now 6 feet from the basket.
Interesting. They were saying that that hole plays as a bunker rule, but based off of this, it looks like it doesn't play as a bunker rule.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Let me pull up the caddy guide real quick.
Yeah, see if you can figure that out. But yeah, not a great start from Kristen. And again, it's like, I mean, there's 3 more rounds and there's a lot of OB potential on this course. I mean, you have Missy Gannon. She had 2 bogeys and a double today. Hole 7 just looks like it ate a lot of people's lunch today. And that's the second time now we've seen, a challenging hole kind of take Kristen's lunch money a little bit. Luffy says only the approach to the green is bunker rule, not the fairway.
Yep. As I said, I'm just reading it now here.
Okay.
Nothing.
So when you're throwing to so she threw like her second shot, she was probably laying up and she just threw it OB or something.
It looks like it was.
I'm sorry, guys. I did not wake up at 2:00 in the morning to watch that.
It looks like she threw long of the basket on her third shot. So her second shot was from 206 feet. She threw long of the basket and was now last in bounds 22 feet from the basket. And then she 3-putted from there.
Gotcha. Captain says Yuli shot -4. Course is too soft. LOL. Okay. So I think what Yuli said was pretty spot on. I think he talks about how this course, if you throw right around that 400 to 450 foot mark, this course plays actually pretty challenging. But if you have distance, this course is a little bit on the easier side. I think you can see that by some of the players on the MPO side that didn't play that well today. But again, when you're talking about a course being too easy or when you're talking about a course being too easy, let me remind you guys, do not look at the players that played poorly. You can always have a bad putting round. I can go out to Dash's track, which is a very easy course, and just putt terribly and have a bad round. You got to look at the top players. And let me just make a quick little comparison here between a sport that literally is molded off of disc golf. We're going to go to the Open Championship, which is currently going on right now at Portrush, a course I've played before. Very challenging course. And we're going to take a peek and just see what the scores are over there. So the leaders, you've got 5 players that are 4 under par. That is the leading score after round 1. To get to even par, Jordan Spieth shot even par. He's in 39th place. Even par on this course, you are in 85th place. So quite different skill as far as like difficulties go, quite different. And even if you go to like the top score guy, all right, I'm looking at his scorecard. He had 2 birdies on the front 9 and 1 bogey on the front 9. On the back 9, he had 2 birdies, an eagle, and a bogey. So lots of pars, hence how the game should be played. A lot of pars, and then you have some good holes, you have some bad holes. Now let's go to the leader here. AB had 6 birdies and 1 bogey on the front 9, and he had 8 birdies on the back 9. A little bit different. Disc golf right now, we play a current game where the best players they're playing holes with the intention of birdieing them. And in golf, the best players are playing holes with the intention of parring them. And occasionally they will get birdies. I think that's the problem is in disc golf, you can't really get that much better than a birdie. And it's hard to get really bad, really worse than a birdie. Where if you're on the par, it's kind of similar, Gary, to like nose angle. For all you people out there that are struggling and aren't great disc golfers, listen to me quickly. You want your nose angle to be away from zero. You don't want to throw a disc flat nose angle, because if you throw it flat and you're off by a little bit and it's +1 versus -1, the discs are going to fly drastically different between a +1 and a -1. Even though it's only 2-degree difference, they're going to fly way different. You're much better off trying to throw like a -1.5 or a -2 degrees nose angle, because if you go -4, it's not going to change that much. If you go -1, it's not going to change that much. But when you sit on that fine line of positive or negative, the characteristics of your flight are going to be vastly different. And in disc golf, that's what I would love to see, the scoring. Par, and then you're under par, over par. And right now, we shift a lot to holes playing under par. And I just think that's where we're missing the 8 ball here. Not saying that's not interesting. Obviously, a lot of you guys still watched today and did find it interesting, but I think it would be a lot more interesting to watch someone like Ricky when a bogey and a birdie are right on the line. It's right there versus a birdie or a par. So that's where I'm at on that.
Very true.
Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, top of the FPO leaderboard here.
Yeah. One person, not surprising in the least.
Hey, you were talking about her, Valerie.
Yep. She's been having some great events recently. I think I'm hoping that we're seeing the Valerie that we saw a few years ago, where everyone was like, she's going to be the next person.
Yep.
And it seems like the game is clicking for her. Imagine a great reinvigoration to her career to come away with a major title right here.
Unbelievable. We have someone that I have no idea who this is. Klesberga. Any idea who this is? What flag is that?
From
Latvia.
She's a sub 900 rated player. I'm pulling up a profile now to see how we have here. So she played Waco this year. She finished 48th at Waco, 36th at the Open at Austin, 18th at Konopiste, 17th at Ale, 37th at PCS, and 13th at Crokel. So this is probably she's playing out of her mind right now. Which I'd love to see. Hey, if she takes it down, that's awesome.
If she wins this thing, that would be a story.
She's on she's on Queen of the Hill just automatically.
Oh my gosh, this would be an absolute story right here. So she's currently in the lead by 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Sophia. Now Sophia has actually popped off at some of it, a handful of events. She's had a couple great tournaments. Very solid Canadian player. She is currently 2 back at 6 under par. And then Kona out of the woodworks, coming out, shooting a great 5 under round. And again, I think this is, are they playing a different layout here? Let's see here. I don't think so, right? They're playing the Rocks.
They're playing the Rockstar.
Is the bar different?
Their layout is about
2. Oh wait, no, it is different.
Yeah,
their layout is almost 1,000 feet shorter.
1,000 feet shorter. Par is 2 higher.
Par is 2 higher. So it is a considerably easier course. However, I think the course probably suits, to me, it probably suits more of an FPO distance, because when you have these sub 700 foot par 4s, I'm looking at this right now. You have a 558 foot par 4, a 407. This is on the MPO course, a 679 foot par 4, 607 foot par 4, 640, 656, another 656. When you have these par 4s that you're really asking players to throw 2 shots under 400 feet, I go back to like Northwood Black. It has to be a hole of where we don't play it anymore, but there was a hole where it's like you had to throw like a 300 foot straight putter shot. No more than 300 feet, though. And if you were 270, you were dead. If you were 310, you were dead. If you were left or right, you were dead. So it was a very specific shot, very hard to pull off. And then it was a tricky kind of uphill shot to a blind basket. That hole makes sense in disc golf. I don't mind that. I saw a lot of people bogey that hole. Very easy to bogey. It's not a sure birdie. I didn't see a lot of that on these par fours. And maybe I go out there and I play the course and I go, Gary, we were way wrong, man. These tee shots, extremely hard. But isn't that on the Disc Golf Network to like showcase that, to explain how hard these shots are, to give us a better idea of how difficult these shots are? Because I wasn't seeing it today.
Yeah, I don't want to hear the phrase "there's danger on every hole" anymore. I want you to tell me what the danger on the hole is.
That's a good point.
Give me the context, build the story for me that when I go into this hole, here's what I got to look out for. Here's the common mistake we're going to see. And I know it is also hard because they typically tend to shy away from the bad shots and people who aren't performing very well. So you're really only seeing the players who are popping off most of the time. I felt pretty bad for Albert Tom today because he was on the lead, feature card representing his country, and he just couldn't get the day going. And at the end of the round, they're like, he must feel so proud to be representing his country, and he did not perform very well.
Yeah, what did he finish at?
Was it +1, I think?
Oh, did he shoot over par today?
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Yeah, he finished at +1. He had a bad putting day. He missed 9 putts inside of the circle today. So yeah, I mean that right there would have finished at minus or 8 under par if that was it. Captain wants to let me know that putting in disc golf is too different to compare to ball golf. Would have to make baskets have 10 change minimum. Captain, I have to compare it to golf because literally disc golf was created from golf.
Yeah,
it's the same sport, just with a different object and a different target, but everything is literally the same. We also copied them on everything.
Yeah,
when it makes no sense. Why is it called a tee box? Makes no sense to call that tee box. So,
and unfortunately, we refuse to copy them on the things that would help improve our game.
Correct,
like pace of play stuff.
And yes, and it's just golf was not a sport created to eliminate a lot of these. In disc golf, I agree with you. We have eliminated how easy putting is. I would love to see putting be a lot more challenging. I would love to see it. That would fix a lot of problems. But I also would love to see a lot of elements not be removed either. I'll finish on this last thing because this one hits home a little bit. So I had a very hard track workout this morning, and it was very, very hard physically. Okay. It was hard to breathe. My legs were starting to fill with lactic acid. Very, very challenging physically. But the thing that really made it even harder, Gary, was the mental part. The mental part of running these intervals and then stopping and then having to tell myself to not quit. Having to tell myself, no, you can do the next one. Having to tell myself when I'm like gasping for air, you're fine. You're not going to die. Keep going. I can only imagine how much easier my track workout would have been this morning if none of those thoughts were in my head. If there was a way for me to take a special pill and I didn't have anything like that, and the only thing I had to focus on was how hard it was to breathe and what my legs felt like, but I was able just to push through it, it would have been a lot easier. But the mental side was honestly really, really challenging. And that right now in disc golf, we're only seeing that show up with pressure. That's the only thing we ever really see with disc golf is when pressure is applied. It's a major, there's a couple holes left. We're not really seeing it with the decision-making from hole after hole. We're not really seeing it with the challenging shot shapes. We're not really seeing it with having to throw something that we're not comfortable with. We're only ever really seeing that with disc golf with the pressure being added. And I just think I would love to see that element more in disc golf.
Yep. And not just in the final round. Because I'll hear people say that, as long as it's there in the final round, the pressure of winning, great, love it. I'll die on this hill that we need to make the rest of the event. We need to fill the event with pressure. We need to build the stories in the narrative. And asking people just to watch the final round isn't going to be enough. If you just even from a sponsorship perspective, like our sponsors only going to want the final round to be watched by a lot of people. They want the whole coverage to be watched by people.
Yeah,
So,
and Luffy says laying up from 50 feet is boring to watch. Putting doesn't need to be harder. Getting in position needs to be more difficult. So Luffy, I'll say this to you is people aren't going to be laying up from 50 feet, brother. Like people will figure out how to putt softer, how to putt more accurately from 50 feet. It will be adjusted. Literally look at basketball. Look at the evolution of basketball. People used to not be this good at shooting three-pointers. People used to, if you pull up from the logo in basketball years ago, people would think you're crazy. That's a terrible shot. People do it all the time now. Stuff will evolve. And so I know what you're thinking. Like, oh, if you make the basket smaller, putting. No, what's going to happen, Luffy, is the people that putt really well, they are going to shine. You'll actually notice that. You won't see people throw a bad putt and still make it. That's what's happening right now is you're having people throw bad putts coming out of their hand being like, oh gosh, and it catching and going in. We see that often, all the time. It's because the target's too big. Target's too big.
Yeah.
All right. Kelsey's cooking up some shrimp. I smell it. Shout out to you though, Gary, for hopping on. PJ Mike, appreciate you hopping on. Let us know if you guys like these little recaps for the majors. I think it's a cool spot to kind of talk to you guys. Hopefully we'll be able to, since it was a little bit last minute today, hopefully we'll be able to get some more people on tomorrow and get some more interviews with some players coming on after their rounds, see how their rounds went. And I'm hoping for a more exciting day tomorrow. I'm going to give it my best shot.
Absolutely.
We'll see. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.